One. And joining us now from Stuttgart, Germany, General Carter Ham. He's the commander of U.S. forces now serving over Libya. He's the commander of the U.S. military's Africa Command. Only been in business for a couple of weeks. You got your hands full, General Ham. Thanks very much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Wolf.
You're still in command of the U.S. mission over Libya, is that right?
That's correct.
When does that change? When does NATO take over?
Well, NATO has already taken over one piece, which is the arms embargo. That's principally maritime. We expect that NATO will take over the no-fly zone this weekend. And then the next piece, the third and final piece, is the mission to protect civilians. NATO, it is my understanding, NATO has agreed to that in principle and will this weekend decide on the procedures and the timing of accepting that mission. But I think that will probably occur in the very near future.
So when NATO takes overall command of everything, assuming that happens, and that's still an assumption right now, what is your job and the job of the U.S. military's Africa Command?
Well, Libya is one of the 53 countries in Africa for which this command is responsible. So we still have a decided interest in security matters in Libya. But once NATO assumes responsibility for those missions, then I would no longer have a direct command authority relationship with the forces engaged in NATO operations.
Do you have a clear understanding, General, of what the mission is in Libya right now?
I do. It is threefold. It is execute the arms embargo, it is execute a no-fly zone, and it is to protect civilians.
Is it also to get rid of Gaddafi?
It is not. It is very specifically not that mission.
Why not, since the President has repeatedly said that the U.S. policy is that Gaddafi must go?
It is indeed U.S. policy that the current leader of Libya should no longer be that leader and that he has lost legitimacy. But it has also been a determination that we will not seek to achieve that policy through military means.
But you work for the President of the United States. He's the commander-in-chief. You report to the President, and if he says Gaddafi must go, isn't it your responsibility to implement that policy?
It is the policy, but the President has also stated very clearly to me and to others that we will not seek to achieve that policy goal through military means.
How will the U.S. achieve that policy goal?
Well, I think by other ways, by economic sanctions, certainly by diplomatic effort. There are a number of ways that the international community can apply pressure on the current leader in Libya, but specifically to me, it is not a mission to cause regime change in Libya.
There's no regime change as far as your mission is concerned, even though the President has repeatedly said Gaddafi must go. So it's still a little vague in my mind. How will you know success in Libya when it occurs?
Well, I think we have achieved already a large degree of success. We do have an arms embargo. We do have a no-fly zone. And we have halted a very serious assault by Libyan regime forces toward the city of Benghazi. I don't know how many people we saved on doing that, but I know we saved some. We have an ongoing effort to where we see regime forces attacking civilians, that we take military action to prevent that to the degree that we can. And we have had some success. Have we had complete success? No. And it breaks my heart that that's the situation that we're in, because we find these regime forces taking cover inside built-up areas where they know, because of our concern for civilian casualties, that we won't strike in there. So it's a tough situation right now, but I think we have achieved a large measure of success. The second part of the mission is indeed to transition this to NATO, and we're prepared. We have transitioned one part of the mission, and I think in the coming days we'll transition the other parts of the mission, and we'll do that seamlessly.
Greetings, and thank you for your efforts in the global fight against HIV/AIDS. Together, we have mounted one of the greatest public health responses in history. Through your tireless efforts, we have begun to halt and reverse the epidemic, and millions of lives have been saved. The United States, working through PEPFAR and the Global Fund, is the largest contributor to global AIDS programs, and we're committed to leading the fight against HIV/AIDS as we seek a sustainable, effective, and broad response to the global burden of disease. PEPFAR is the cornerstone of our global health initiative and offers support to countries in meeting the broad health needs of their people. We are focused on reducing the impact on families and communities when the virus claims women of reproductive age, passes from mother to child, or is spread through gender-based violence. And we believe access to HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment, and care should be a universal shared responsibility because health is a human right. As we push to expand access to these resources, the United States will continue to work with our partner countries and with civil society to help empower citizens to lead the charge in their own countries. We look forward to hosting you at the 2012 conference in Washington, D.C. Together, we will continue this important work. Thank you very much.